What's up, my peeps? These fucking tits look fucking massive, bro. Guess what I did today? Push day. It was a nice session. Man, I've been really trying to figure myself out lately. For those of you who don't know, I've been getting into just mindset, you know. This channel is going to be a lot about mindset, business. Yeah, there's going to be physique here and there, but to be honest, man, like if you guys want to see the physique, I'll show you, and I'll teach you everything I know. But I'm kind of just fed up with the physique. I've done it for so many years already. I was a personal trainer, so it's kind of something I'm like just tired of talking about. And the more I've just progressed through life, the more I realize it has a lot to do with what's up here, the mindset behind it all, how you approach it, how you identify yourself, how you carry yourself. And if you can't fix what's up here first, none of this happens. None of it matters. It will continue leaving this hole within you because you haven't figured out yourself first, which is exactly why I wanted to talk about Carl Jung. For most of you who don't know Carl Jung, kind of like a psychiatrist, but also he's a lot of things, man. Dude's an enigma, a genius, prodigy, a psychologist. He almost has his own like philosophy in psychology called Jungianism, or the Jungian psychology. And I've been getting into his research lately, and just learning more about his work and what he's done. And yesterday I came across one of his almost methods to getting to know yourself better. And I've heard it before, but it's called shadow work. And I always thought that it was like some bullshit witchcraft that only females do. But it's actually something that I think derives from him, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically, the shadow is almost like a persona that you have inside of you. And that's where you hold all your insecurities, traumas. You know, you can imagine it like an iceberg, right? That tip that you see is the mask, the exterior, us. And then, you know, the deeper you go on the iceberg, underwater, that's where it's really like, that's where the apex and the majority of its being is, right? Underwater. And that's basically the shadow. So, you know, I've been doing the journaling. I've been into mindset for about a year, almost 2 years now. So I'm pretty self-aware. I would consider myself self-aware, and I've always been pretty self-aware just because of the way I grew up. I grew up around a lot of females, which made me aware. I had a lot of like just experiences when I went experiences that I went through as a child, where I found myself, not to get woe is me shit, but I found myself very lonely at times. So I've always been kind of an observant, self-reflective person, you know, a listener. If I'm not addressed, I'm not going to talk to you type of person. So that's given me a lot of, you know, time to self-reflect. But you come to find out, man, like almost the more aware you are, the harder it is to verbalize that and get all the little things that you've experienced throughout your life and verbalize it and try to teach it and communicate it with others so they could have these same realizations. And that's where I struggle a lot in YouTube, in Instagram, and just my content in general, in trying to verbalize and put my thoughts onto paper and be able to translate it into you guys in a simple, effective way. That way you guys could come in and implement it and have these realizations for yourself. Because like I've always said, most of our problems aren't fixed with the meal plan, with the structure, with the strategy. It's fixed internally first. We have to realize what's actually holding us back. Why do we suffer from inconsistency? Is it lack of self-acceptance? Is it because we lack meaning? Is it because we want to search a greater purpose? You know, there are these deep self-actualizations that we have to go through in order to, you know, break them apart and not completely eliminate it, because what I've learned is we can't get rid of those insecurities and that shadow, but we could learn to coexist with it. We could learn to notice these reoccurring patterns that have come across time and time again throughout our lives, and be able to notice it and be like, pinpoint, hey, there it is again, but in just a different form, in a different font, you know? And the second we're able to pinpoint it, we're able to address it and stop it right there, you know? Because let's go for example, self-doubt. Self-doubt's been a thing that I've struggled with for a long time. And I think that self-doubt, you know, has different branches that it stems from, but a big branch is because of my dad. And my dad, when I was growing up, would constantly compare me to kids around my age. And, you know, academia and sports, you know, just in life in general, whether I was in college, in high school, it didn't really matter. And he didn't do it out of malice. He just did it almost like to set an example. But I took it, you know, as I wasn't good enough. And it caused this lack of self-acceptance within myself. And I came to realize that this morning, because I started the shadow work this morning. Because I was analyzing my dad, because I was on a phone call with him yesterday, and then he got on the phone, and I had this resentment towards my dad for some reason. Because, you know, I always felt that he was a great father that led by example, but he never taught me hand in hand directly how to be a man. And I felt like I constantly found myself seeking other role models. Especially male role models, because he never set the example for me. And it's not his fault, man. Like, he did the best he could, and I love my dad. And we all have our flaws, right? But yeah, I noticed that this morning, right? That resentment was coming from him. And I pinpointed it down because of that comparison. And now that I'm aware of that, every time I have this sense of self-doubt, I'm able to trace it back, be like, hey, that's your dad. Remember that. And if I'm able to catch myself early on, I could avoid repeating the same patterns, because that self-doubt would then, you know, spiral me into a loop of almost like self-sabotage. You know, if I have this self-doubt, then it's almost like I'm not going to commit fully to what I'm about to do, because I have that self-doubt within myself that I'm not going to fully execute it, right? But if I now have the awareness, and I'm able to tell that awareness, hey, I don't need approval. I don't need to feel like I have to earn love or earn respect or earn, you know, anybody else's validation, because I've proved it to myself through my actions, through the gym, through my physique, through my relationship, through my fucking business. Then that's me coexisting with the insecurity, you know. And now we live in this harmonious, you know, battle to where, yeah, it's gonna come up, but I'm constantly gonna be aware of it. And me being aware of it is gonna be it's gonna allow me to teach you guys, and you're gonna be able to notice those recurring patterns like I'm doing right now, right? And so basically, to wrap all this up, over the next 30 days, I'm gonna be doing this shadow work in the mornings after I finish my cardio. And it's just like a 10 to 20 minute period of just silence, where I'm just there with my journal, and I'm kind of just sitting and observing my thoughts. And as my thoughts coming to me, I'm gonna start writing stuff down. And I'll write down like, hey, how do I feel right now? Why do I feel this way? If I get triggered, why am I triggered? Where is this coming from? And like, I started with, what do I feel this morning? And somehow it led me to uncovering this thing about me and my dad and why I had this resentment towards him. It works very, very, very strangely, but your mind will find its way back through the fear, the insecurities, the trauma, and you're going to be able to pinpoint it. And the more I think I'm able to do this, the better I'm going to get at it. And the better my content is, the better I'm going to be able to explain these topics to you guys, so you could finally conquer, that inner bitch within you and fucking persevere through it and actually go out and reach your goals, right? But yeah, I'm super excited to dive into it. And not to say that it's just going to last 30 minutes, 30 days, because this is probably going to go on for a lifetime. And I love journaling, and I love becoming self-aware, and all that basically is right, that shadow is your unconscious patterns, and all we're trying to do is make the unconscious conscious, because once we understand those reoccurring patterns, we're able to fix them. And it's a fascinating thing. And yeah, I'm super excited to get into Carl Jung and all his methodologies and shit. And I'll be documenting the journey on Instagram every single day on my stories. I might even do a post about it over the next 30 days. This is what I'm going to be doing, and make it like some type of a self-reflection journey, and some power of awareness shit. but yeah, I'm super excited to dive into that. There's a lot of things about my childhood that I don't remember. Ever since, I would say from 7 or 8 years old down, there's not a lot of memories that I could recall. And maybe that's trauma, maybe that's just lack of exercising the mind, because the mind is just a muscle. We got to stimulate it, right? If we don't work it, like anything else, like every other muscle, it's just going to deteriorate. It's going to atrophy. And see where I fall, man. See where I land, and discover things about me that I didn't know. Because the more you could discover about yourself, that I believe that's self-mastery. Yeah.
Did I not?
No, I don't, yeah, if that's what you say, I can't really.
Okay, you asked me a question, so I answered. But anyways, what was the first
But
question?
you feel used, that's coming from an insecurity.
No, it feels inauthentic to me, and it feels like, yes, like...
How is me just pulling up the camera inauthentic?
You didn't pull up the camera,
Baby,
though.
I just pulled out the camera right now. I just wanted your
right
opinion
now.
on the conversation at first to see if you were willing to have the dialogue.
I don't believe that's why you asked me the question.
Baby, when I asked you the question, I already knew that I was gonna make a video about this.
I understand that. So why didn't you pull it up and then ask me the question?
Because I hadn't fully thought my thoughts. I wanted your perspective first, so then I could compare my perspective on the subject.
But why do you need to compare when you could just pull it up to begin with and be authentic from the very beginning?
There is nothing wrong with me having to take 15 to 20 seconds to correlate my thoughts, because I have a lot going on in my head, and just hear your perspective, so then I could just, view some guidelines, because I need some guidelines, because that my mind goes all over the place. Just because your system doesn't work with me doesn't mean I'm coming off inauthentic.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But do you see how communicating that would have been so much better from the very beginning?
Why do you feel like I need to communicate that to begin with? Like, it's not even that big of a deal.
Did I say it was a big of a deal?
I
never said it was
me
that big of a
attitude
deal.
to begin with, and
Yes,
look at the situation we're in right now.
Because I wasn't ready to just make a talking video. You know what I mean? I thought I was having a conversation with my man.
You were. What's the difference between you having a conversation with your man and you having a conversation with your man recording it?
Because
that's inauthentic.
Now it's a conversation with me and your audience. It's not a conversation like just us having a conversation. Do you see how you asked me 2 questions and I'm very into responding to you? Like, I'm very into responding to you and I'm like getting excited, and then you want to recreate it again, like for your audience.
I don't want
to do that.
That's your perspective on what I'm doing. I don't want to recreate it.
So then
I want to have 2 conversations and now merge it together.
I just don't see that. I just don't see that perspective. That's it.
So if you don't see that perspective, why do you feel like you have to give me attitude just because I don't agree with your perspective?
I didn't give you attitude, I just
Baby,
blatantly.
you said the first thing you said was, I gave you attitude because I don't agree with your method. That you don't have
I
to.
never said that. Run it back, run it back, run it back, because I never said
That
that.
was before I started recording. Baby, that's the first thing you said.
I just blatantly did not want to record myself saying that again, because then that feels inauthentic to me. That's it. Like, imagine if I asked you,
Baby, we were
"Babe,
gonna have a
da-da-da-da-da
dialogue on the
question."
conversation. I wasn't gonna ask you the same exact questions.
Okay, whatever you want to do, that's fine. I'm down to have a dialogue, but, like, yeah, I'm down to have a dialogue.
I mean, why? Why?
Why what?
Why do you feel that way?
I asked you, but you refuse to actually listen. You get defensive.
Who's defensive, baby? I just
I
want to
told
understand
you,
your perspective,
if
and
you
I
were
want to share my
listening to
perspective with
anything
you.
I was just saying, I already told you why I felt the way that I felt.
I understand, and I'm not saying your feeling is wrong. I'm sharing you my perspective. You're taking it aggressively.
Okay.
You reacted a certain way to my action.
Yes.
It's your reaction, mi amor.
I
want to know
understand my
why.
reaction.
I want to know why you reacted that way, and now I understand.
Okay.
And then my rebuttal to that was just my perspective.
Okay.
And then you didn't agree with my perspective, which is completely fine. But then don't call me inauthentic, because then you started insulting me.
Oh, I'm never insulting you, and that's where you go wrong every time. I'm never insulting you. I'm never offending you. I'm literally just trying to explain to you my perspective of things. That's it.
I understand, but then, but why?
I said to me
But
that
then again,
feels
you
inauthentic.
attacked me, baby.
I never attacked you. I said
Baby,
to me.
baby, your exact words were, baby, you could get all defensive. See, I'm cool. I'm open. I'm always having a dialogue, baby. I'm always having a dialogue with you. You could give me like the side eye, you could give me the face and not be open to it, but I'm completely open and I completely understand your perspective. But I'm saying, I'm just restating what you said to me.
What did I say to you?
You felt like, baby, that's why you feel like you need to have a script, and then you have to be inauthentic with your videos.
That's the way that I see it.
100%. But why do you feel the need to attack me?
Who's attacking you?
Well, baby, that's some type of attack. Like, why do you have to turn it on me and then my work? Like, I work a certain type of way, baby.
I am never insulting you or offending your work, but when you bring me into your work, that's when it's a collaborative effort and you have to communicate that we are working.
Baby, I don't want it to feel like work. That's the whole thing. That's why I didn't tell you, mi amor.
But
I
then
wanted
why
to
don't you just put up the camera and ask me the question? That is being authentic with your audience, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
because
baby, the first thing when you brought that up, baby, I was like, that's an amazing perspective. I'm gonna do that from here on out.
Perfect. You
But
didn't say it like that though, or else I would have kept on going.
Baby, I did say that. When the second you brought it up, that's what I said. Is it not, mi amor? When you literally went like this, I was like, that's an amazing point.
Then why did the conversation have to keep going? There's no reason for me to keep going if that's exactly what you said. I do not believe that's what you said. You started to feel offended and feel like I was calling you inauthentic and offending your work.
Baby,
Why would I ever do that?
You did, baby. You said that's why you need a script. Like you started pointing out like my little flaws in my content.
That's a perspective, that's your insecurities coming through. I told you, for me, that feels inauthentic to me. You asked me, why did you react this way? I said, because for me, that feels staged, it feels inauthentic, and it feels like you're not communicating what your intentions are behind the conversation. And I don't like to have conversations without knowing the true intention, because that makes me feel inauthentic and used for your videos and for your audience. That's what I've been saying from the very beginning. Never attacking your work, never attacking how you do things. I've just only been asking you to communicate your intention with me from the very beginning, because that's how I work.
I love that, babe, and you're completely right. That is coming from the insecurity in my content because I haven't fully mastered it yet, and it's something that I work on consistently every day. So that's why I reacted the way I did. So you're completely right on that, baby.
Thank you, babe.
But I just don't want you to feel used. Like I had just a certain method of doing things.
No, and that's I know that you're not trying to use me. That's never what
Definitely
I'm
not,
trying to
baby.
say, because if I said you're trying to use me, that would be an insecurity. I'm just telling you how I genuinely felt. That action of like you asking me 2 questions and me being really excited to answer and being really in tune with the conversation, and then it felt like almost like the minute you got the answer you wanted, you were like, oh, okay, perfect. Like, let me reach for my phone and record this.
I could
now.
definitely see how you saw that perspective, but you know, like I have a lot of thought. Like I
know
have trouble
that.
verbalizing
But
things, which
babe,
is
I
why
genuinely
I do.
think that you don't struggle with that, because when me and you are having an authentic conversation, you are able to keep your thoughts aligned.
But I take a lot of pauses, baby.
And that's fine though.
Right.
Pauses are there for a reason, because editing is there for a reason. You're allowed to take
100%.
away the pauses. I think that you're trying to go from 0 to 100 and be like this, like perfectly scripted, like you know exactly what you're gonna say right when it comes off of your mouth, but the only way that you get there is not by scripting and not by asking questions before you film the video, but by turning on the camera and just talking.
Yeah, but sometimes, babe, I need guardrails, babe, and I need things to keep me
The
alive.
guardrail is the question.
I understand that, babe, but I disagree with you. That
That's fine.
sometimes I need, you know, structure in my work, babe, the same way I need structure in my life.
That's fine.
You don't have structure, so you're able to just verbally flow. You have to understand that I struggle with my dialogue, which is why I practice it every single day.
I just genuinely
There's a
believe-
reason I'm doing the shadow work, baby.
Yes. I just genuinely do believe that it would benefit you to not be so structured
I'm not,
all the
baby.
time, and just to try to just turn on your phone and just ask me a
Sometimes I
question
do that,
and just
baby.
have a you don't usually turn on your phone and then just ask me a question
Baby,
and
the
have a
whole
dialogue.
the reel that blew up yesterday was me turning on my phone and I
And me
asked.
talking.
Right, but I asked you questions. That's the whole
Right.
thing. That's exactly what's the difference.
And that's
Emma?
why I blew up, but you asking me, did you ask me the questions in there and then turn on your phone and ask me to reread my journal and re-ask the questions? No, the reason why it blew up is because you just turned on your phone and we were just talking like we normally do, completely authentically. And that's how I like my videos, and that's why I think the ones that do well on your page, they do so well when they are the most authentic, and you just have it playing, and you're just thinking off the dome, and when you're pausing, you feel comfortable in your silence, you feel comfortable pausing. You don't just quit right away and go, oh, like I didn't say the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, no.
There you have it, folks. My flaws. I see that. Yeah.
I hate scripting.
Maybe
I hate it so
structure is
much.
what's keeping me down.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, like, if you just completely got rid of your structure and you would be
No, I'd be a
living like
mess.
me, you'd be a hot mess. But, like, in your daily routine, I think it's great that you have structure and you have times to do things, but you take structure to a whole new level to where you are perfectly structuring your talking videos and it's making them feel inauthentic. And that's why when you present them to me, and I'm like, what am I even listening to? Tell me I'm not wrong. They're
Definitely.
great. Like, I see what your point is that you're trying to make. I see your message, but like, that's why you're all over the place, because you're trying to fit a million thoughts into a perfect structure instead of just taking the million thoughts in your head, taking a deep breath, and just talking about what you feel, and in your brain, like, you don't give your brain enough credit. Your brain will naturally organize those thoughts. That's what it was made to do. That's why we're communicative creatures. That's why we can have structured conversation. We just flow.
But it just goes back down to that self-doubt.
And notice how, like, during this whole dialogue, you were like, this goes down to you not trusting me and this doubt. I'm
It's
like,
always a reflection.
what in the world? Like, what do you even, like, that's
Always a
nothing to
reflection.
do with what is even inside of
That
me
was a
right
shadow.
now. That's straight up you.
The shadow.
Yes.
Awesome. I got offended because you were doubting my work. And my work, to me, is a representation of myself. And if you're doubting my work, then you're doubting me.
But really, you doubt
I'm
you.
just doubting me.
You're-
Because I was fully confident in my work, I wouldn't take it offensively.
That's why it made no sense to me, and that's why I got even more defensive, because I'm like, and that's an insecurity on me, like, how dare you? say that I would offend your work after I've been supporting you this entire time type thing. You know what I mean? And then that leads to my insecurity of feeling like I don't support you enough. So see, it's all just a mirror.
It's always a mirror.
But seriously, stop fucking scripting your content, please. Stop doing it, just stop. Your first few videos, they might be shitty and John might friggin' shit on them. But after a while, you're gonna get to his point where you're just talking, your thoughts are gonna be able to organize themselves, because if you're relying on a pen and paper
Like,
all
I
the
do
time,
the work. I journal every single day. I write my thoughts, so they should be able to flow.
you
I
have
read.
amazing conversation with me. You realize I'm a yapper, like I wouldn't be with you if you couldn't have decent conversation. You are an amazing conversationalist. You're very good at speaking your thoughts and organizing them. But the minute you start doubting yourself, you resort to the external, a pen and paper, to give you guardrails and all this structure, because you think that you need more structure in order to actually be able to succeed. But structure is not flow. They are two complete opposites. So if you're trying to be in flow, you cannot be scripting and doing this guardrail shit. That shit is for people, the guardrail shit is for people who are starting off, like, that's when you could have used the structure and the guardrails. You are way past that already. All you have to do is write down the topic you want to talk about and talk about it. Are there going to be little pieces in there where you're maybe going
That's
off
the
on a
same
tangent?
thing that my
or you're
audience
pausing?
struggles
Yes.
with.
What?
Not having structure, or thinking that they need structure. Because that's what I struggle with.
You've built the structure already, though. Your problem is not structure, it's self-doubt, and it's reflected in the structure. You doubt yourself, so you think that you need more this, more that, more this, more that, more notes, more videos.
And it's the same thing. Like,
It's like, just fucking implement and fucking flow. Like, you don't need to watch more calls. You don't need to watch more, like, write more shit down.
And
Maybe
it's
when
the
it comes to
same
the
thing,
journaling,
babe.
yes,
It's
but
the same thing I tell my audience to not do. You don't need to fucking, like, time your meals or worry about carbohydrate timing when you're not even at that level yet. All you gotta worry is about fucking counting your calories and making sure you're in a calorie deficit. And I can't fully execute on that because I think I need all this structure. Like, you know, I think I need the carb timing and the meal frequencies and all this fucking complexity, when in reality all that does is cause me to overthink and self-doubt, which is why I can't nail the fucking content. It's all
it's just
fucking
self-doubt.
reflection.
It's a self-doubt.
It went from talking about a relationship to self-doubt, folks. 15 fucking minutes.
And the way we just broke down this conversation is the same way we need to break down our audience. Boom, overriding conflict issue, broke it down, broke it down, broke it down. Guess what? Your self-doubt is holding you back in your career. You see how we just did that? We really did.
This
That
might
was
be
a
a whole-
crazy combo.
This might be a whole fucking YouTube video.
Yeah, low key. We should just make it a YouTube video. But ask me the question. Like, what question were you gonna ask me? So that
I
we
think
can
at this
finally-
point it doesn't really
You
matter.
don't think it matters?
No, I think this is way more valuable and more helpful than what we were going to talk about originally.
So you don't need more content
No, we got 16 minutes of content.
for YouTube?
No, I have a car talk that I need today. There you have it, folks. It's all a mirror. And you're just getting defensive because you're insecure within yourself.
Mm-hmm. And imagine if, like, we hadn't done the work, like the journaling and the meditation, to be so self-aware and so open and let our ego down to be able to be like, hey, like, I know it's not my partner. It has to be something within me.
Right. I could have fucking, like, been Mr. Big Dick over here and just completely egoed her and, like, try to fucking dominate her with my fucking narcissism and shit. But I've realized that that gets me absolutely nowhere. And putting her down in order to make myself feel better, like I was doing in the beginning, gets us nothing.
Gets us nowhere.
Because now I'm able to, like, she held me accountable. I'm able to hold myself accountable. I'm able to see this reoccurring pattern and understand what's actually being reflected in my reality. And the fact that I'm preaching something to my audience that I myself aren't even following. Like, hypocrite. But again, we aren't able to notice this until we're able to have these conversations.
And be open.
And be
to them.
completely open and vulnerable and fucking just let your ego die within you.
Love you, baby.
Love you, babe. We're out.